Greetings, Clive Evans here, Chairman of Yachting Financial Solutions, founder of the OSOL Partnership, holder of the Cadbury's Dairy Milk, all sorts of cool things. What are we doing today? We're going to talk about what to do. This is sort of the stuff you want to try and do all the time, but it's the time of year when you kind of think about ahead. What are you going to do differently in 2023 than you did differently in 2022 and 2021 and 20 and 20? I've got 10 tips for you here that aren't mine. I've stolen them from other people. There's possibly the first tip. Never be afraid to steal things from other people. Okay. These are 10 tips from the rich and successful. Habits of rich and successful people. You can Google the net, you'll get a zillion of these things. But these 10, I think, are brilliant because they're simple, they're easy, you can do them, I try to do them, and if you do all 10 of them, you can't possibly fail to have a better 2023 than you had 2022, better 21. So the first one here is from a guy called Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett's one of my great heroes, probably the most successful investor the planet has ever seen. Why is he so successful? Because he thinks about what he does. He's a great thinker. And because he thinks, he comes out with things that are just clever. So here's one. Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. What's that about then? Well, that's basically saying, hang on a minute, if you want something to happen, you have to plan for it. I love driving around the English countryside. It's one of the things I miss about living here on the west coast of Ireland. Because what I love about driving around the English countryside, especially some of the more the nice bits, is that the countryside is perfect. All the trees are in the right place. Everything looks perfect. And you know why? Because none of it is natural. The English countryside, especially around stately homes and in posh rural areas, is completely manicured and was built that way 300 or 400 years ago. Can you imagine Capability Brown, the best landscape gardener ever seen on the planet, visualized what his gardens would look like in 200 years' time? So today, you can go to a Capability Brown garden and you can look out at these amazing long vistas and stuff that actually now look the way he visualized them 200 years ago. It looks like that because he decided it was going to look like that and planned for it. So the moral for you is you can have whatever you want as long as you visualize it and plan for it. Somebody will be sitting in the shade of one of those trees because you planted a tree a long time ago. Successful people don't give up. Do you know, I've been helping people plan their finances for 40 years. 40 years. And I'll tell you the ones that succeed in creating real financial futures for themselves, they're the ones that see it through to the end. They're the ones that stick with the plan through thick and thin. They're the ones that say, I am going to do this, and having said I'm going to do it, you know what? I'm going to do it. Because successful people don't give up. It's so easy, isn't it, to actually say, oh, this isn't working too well for me today. I just don't feel like doing it. That's sort of a bit of procrastination and a bit of giving up and a bit of giving up is easy. One of my real heroes in life is Winston Churchill. My father was a Second World War Spitfire pilot, decorated with the DFC. And therefore I kind of identify quite well with that era and the people in it and stuff. Churchill, never give up. Think about that. There was Churchill, darkest days of the war, never, ever give up. Long struggle to get it right and beat the nasty folk. Couldn't see the end, but got on with it. You have to keep going. It's not a quick fix. It's step. Just keep going. Keeping going is, on the one hand, the easiest thing to do, on the other hand, the hardest thing to do. It doesn't mean you have to be superhuman. You just have to keep going. Never give up. Successful people set clear targets for themselves. How many people do you know who have clear targets? Successful people always have clear targets. They're not fuzzy about what it is they're trying to achieve. In fact, if you say to them, what are you trying to do? They will say, I am not trying to, I am going to do this. Not, I might do this. Not, I wish I could do this. Not, wouldn't it be nice if I could do this? They say, I'm going to do this. And if you ask them when, they say, by so-and-so, or then, or whatever. It's very simple. What do you want to do? Work out what that means to you. Put some sort of value on it, whether it's distance or time or achievement or something or other, and say, fine, I am going to achieve that by this. You'll be amazed what will happen next. Oh, and just keep reminding yourself every day. Every day, just keep reminding yourself every day. Successful people set clear targets for themselves. They are not wishy-washy. Successful people have a growth mindset, if you like, an open mind. Unsuccessful people have such closed minds that you wouldn't know whether they were open or shut anyway. I mean, you know, that wonderful kind of feeling you get when you're talking to somebody that don't confuse me with good ideas, because I've made my mind up and basically my world is and I'm not going to make it any better. Oh, they're the same people, aren't they? You know, how's your world? How's everything? Growth people are, well, it's not been great today, but it's going to be bloody good tomorrow because I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to do that. Or I've just found this new idea that I'm going to find something else. Instead of, God, I'm just going to keep myself locked into this bubble full of mediocrity and sit here until I end up as a small heap of on the floor. Formulas for life. Success. Every successful person I've ever met, and I've met a few, understand that there's a formula for everything. There's a real formula. Most of it's about being big. For a start, the smaller you think, the smaller you're going to be. Try this. Small dream, small action, very small outcome. So how could you vary that? Small dream, big action. Yeah, okay, lots of big action, but you still get a small outcome. Big dream. Ooh, big dream. Yeah, so I've got a great idea, but I don't feel very much about it. Small action, small outcome. Big dream, big action. In other words, I've visualized something. I've got something in my mind I really want to do, and these are the big things I'm going to do about them. They're big. Get a big outcome. Big, big, big. Successful people know the value of time. I can remember delivering a talk on this 40 years ago. 40 years ago to my sales team back in London. Because it was, I can't remember exactly how I titled it, but it goes like this. What's more valuable, gold or time? It's funny, if you walk down your high street, and you still get them even in today's virtual world, there's these big buildings that are called National Westminster Bank and Lloyds Bank and Barclays Bank. And these are all about people keeping their money in there in case it gets lost, or amassing their money. Interesting, isn't it? You never see one that's about time, because actually time is the one thing that you can't keep. And there's very, very rarely, you don't actually see, you know, we're financial managers, you know, you don't see time managers very often, where actually, if you actually look after your time well and use it well and make sure that you don't waste your time, actually, the money kind of comes along by itself. It's really quite an interesting conundrum, isn't it? You know, what's more valuable, money or time? It's clear that time's more valuable because time can create, you can use time to create money. You can use money to create time a bit. A good example being, we actually have a guy here that comes and mows the lawn and does the garden things. It doesn't cost a fortune, and he spends a day every 2 weeks doing it. Well, I'm a crap gardener. Teresa's a brilliant conceptual gardener, but she works too hard to actually have time to do it. We reckon we can earn more money for ourselves in the time that he does that, way more than we're going to pay him. Can you see what I'm getting out there? That's a bit of money buying a bit of time. But at the end of the day, it's the time that's the most important thing, isn't it? Please don't waste your time. Let me tell you, at 72 years of age, I can tell you what's really most important. Because I don't have as much as you guys do, and I wish I did. Successful people do the work. Work creates luck. You make your own luck. Luck is all about opportunity. The more strikes you do, the more you're likely to win. I mean, the whole lotto idea, you know, the 1 in a million chance of winning. Well, if you went out and bought 500,000 tickets, you'd probably win. Doesn't make financial sense, but it's all to do with your strike rate. The more often you strike, the more often you will win. End of story. Successful people always work at it. It's always your next move. So many people wait for somebody to tell them what to do or when to do it or how to do it, or they just wait. Successful people are proactive. It is always your next move. In other words, whatever you do, you should be the next thing you should be doing, saying, what am I going to do next? Mr. Buffett again. This is a great Buffett thing because, of course, that's what Buffett's all about, creating invisible income. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Let me put that into yacht crew perspective. As a yachtsman, you only have a finite amount of time you can trade for money. Fact. You're not going to be in yachting for a zillion years. It's all to do with actually making your money do things for you, not your time. If you sell your time for money, then it's bloody vital you do something sensible with the money so that you don't have to work at some point or other in the future. If you just spend it, what have you done? You've wasted your time. If you don't find a way to make money while you'll sleep, you'll work until you die. If you create a pile of investments that squirt out money, then you can actually stop working. Golly, wouldn't that be a good idea? All of this makes sense, doesn't it? But yeah, you knew it made sense. There's nothing new here. But what you need, or what we all need, is somebody to go, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just get on with it? Because we all need that, don't we? We all need that. So what you need to do is make sure that you spend enough time at the Your Soul Partnership website getting all this good stuff, which can only help. No pain, no gain. I'm trying to make sure that you get gain.